Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Good day, everyone. I'm Charndi Cabalquinto. I'm here to introduce my group mates. First, Erjan Balangkit. Second, Edmar Jan Rayola. Third, Rayan Lynn Samaniego. Fourth, Kayla Ibabiosa. And fifth, Craig Villa. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Good day, everyone. I'm Charndi Cabalquinto. I'm here to discuss my topics. It's all about the definition of software. What is software? A software is a computer program made up of a logical sequence of commands or performs a task. The software producer and developer creates a computer program to meet either or general or specific needs of consumer. A buyer gets the benefits of computer program to solve a specific task or problem. Whenever there are software, there are a producer and consumer. Therefore, a relationship between software producer and user made up of user expectation and developer limits. For a healthy relationship, all the following must be agreed on. First, standard. Standard is a universally accepted level of competence. A software developer must be conveyed to buyer of satisfaction that their products one of the high quality, and such as the standards include the mutually agreed upon criteria and expectation of the buyers. We have two standards depends on. First, the development testing. It's all about the testings tries to assure that the program will satisfy and its specifications and it detects and prevents designs and implementation faults. The second one is verification and validation, which is the process of verification and validations. Involves the statics formal of mathematical techniques such as the proof of correctness and dynamic thickness and consistency between the code and the basic initial specification. But even more so, the software components. A computer system software is secure if does not contain a trapdoors through which an intruder can access the system. According to Davis, the human of probability ethical side to system security is that most computer crimes are not committed by hackers, but trusted employees, programmers, managers, clerks, and consultants in the company who know and can manipulate the working of the system.
Hello everyone, my name is Erjan Balangkit and I'm discussing first the 7.1.4, the safety. It is a software system that is unsafe if a condition is created whereby there is a likelihood of an accident, hazard, or a risk. And according to Nancy Leon 171, software safety depends on the design and environment in which such a software is used. And also, according to Littlewood and Strigini, the requirement for root of occurrence of failure as a dependability measure is appropriate in systems that actively control potentially bounced processes. The same measure is not appropriate for life-critical processes in which the emphasis is on failure-free survival. In the final analysis, good and safe software depends on good programming practice, which includes control techniques, application of various types of safety analysis during the development cycle, evaluation of effectiveness of these techniques. The second topic is the quality. The growth of a worldwide software market, the formation of massive software development warehouses in several nations, and the improvement of global software standards have all driven software quality to the forefront of software concerns. If a software product maintains a high level of proficiency in these four areas, it is guaranteed to be of high quality. These areas are the standards, security, safety, and dependability. Total Quality Management, or TQM, improves software quality through a software development process known as the Software Quality Function Development. Many software companies are beginning to design and implement quality assurance approaches like Total Quality Management. This technique uses a software development process called Software Quality Function Development, or SQFD, to try to enhance software quality. The software quality function development represents a movement from the traditional techniques of TQM to the software development environment by focusing on improving the development process through upgrades in the requirement solicitation phase. This technique focuses on this phase because software problems occur when user requirements are misunderstood, which causes overruns of development costs. Design techniques that focus on user specifications are introduced early in the process, leading in fewer design changes and fewer transfer errors across phases. The third topic is the quality of service. It refers to ensuring consistent, predictable service delivery that meets or satisfies customer application requirements for a product, specifically a software product. The product should provide some level of assurance that the customer service expectations will be met. Quality of service on internet, for example, means that network elements such as emitters and hosts demand a high level of assurance that their traffic and service requirements will be satisfied. Because the internet's operations and architecture are built on the dumb network idea, which is its most basic level consists of two smart end routers, one transmitting and one receiving, with no intelligence in between. This requirement and expectation are essential. Then, datagrams with source and destination addresses traverse a network of routes independently as they move from the sender to the receiver. Internet Protocol, IP, provides only one addressing mechanism and nothing else. There are no guarantees that any independent datagram in the network will be delivered. In conclusion, quality of service is needed in network protocols.
A system failure can occur because of the hardware failure or a served software issue caused by the system to freeze, reboot, or stop functioning altogether. A system failure may or not result in an error being displayed on the screen. The computer may shut down without warning or without any error message. If an error message display, it often is displayed as a blue screen of that error. na Windows computers. Human factor. Human factor, staff of a company is a very important group. For a novelist or PR specialist, it reflects inner policy of a company effect. Inner policy increase labor, productivity, and improve environment. Company's inner policy should be responsive. They're taking into consideration wishes to psychology of personnel, tension in the administration staff relationship may have dangerous consequences for business or institution. The nature of software medium has been consequences for system engineering of software-intensive system. Fred Brooks has famously observed that the four properties of software taken together differentiate it from other kinds of engineering artifacts. Risk. Risk is a something unwanted or harmful effect. It is the probability of success or failure of an event. Risk involves uncertainty about the effect, implication of an activity with respect to something that human value, often focusing on negative, undesirable consequences. Many different definitions have been proposed.
Risk assessment is an identification of hazard that could negatively impact on organization's ability to conduct business. This assessment helps identify these inherent business risks and provide measure, process, and control to reduce the impact of this risk to business operations. Risk Management Information System is an integrated computer information system used to aggregate risk data to help decision makers evaluate business risk.
Risks and hazards in workplace system. The workplace is the second only to our homes in the amount of time we spend there. For most people with 9 to 5 work schedules, work comprises about 40 hours of the 168 hours a week. When you figure in commuting to and from work, the other work-related activities, we spend on the average 84 hours a week at home. Because we spend so much time outside our homes and in close contact with people from all walks of life, and most often work with workplace machinery and people, which we call workplace system, there is always a high risk associated with this system, as well as we commute to and from work. In a workplace environment, accidents resulting from these three fascinated models of hardware, software, and humanware are caused by the intertwining of the components whereby each part affects the others. According to Levinson, an accident is then a coincidence of factors related to one another. Through this intertwining, each component's contribution to system accident depends on the environment of the system. Different environments may cause different types of accident. In some accidents, software may contribute than the other two, whereas in others, humanware may contribute more, especially in cases where there is lack of effective training to the human component. There is a perception that humanware is more prone to errors in workplace systems than either hardware or software. According to Levinson, most workplace accidents are caused by what she calls a safety culture based on human, where a general attitude and approach to safety consisting of overconfidence, complacency, placing low priority on safety, and accepting flawed resolution of conflicting goals. To this, we also add poor employee training and poor employee morale. In a workplace system where there is a transient human component, overlooking the human component for a critical safety decision making process may result in high-risk system safety. This perception is enhanced by the incredibility problem and the myth about computers. People still hold the computer dear, that is more reliable and create less risk, that software testing eliminates software errors, that increased software reliability automatically implies increased safety, and that the reusing software increases its safety levels. All these are myths. Software safety is unpredictable as its counterpart, that humanware. For those with such perceptions, there is good news. The development of intelligent computer technology and communication devices may lessen the human component in the workplace. However, this does not mean that the workplace system will be error-free. It will, however, shift the burden onto software because hardware errors are more readily predictable than those by humanware and software. Hardware errors can be easily be located and fixed. Software errors, on the other hand, may take many hours before they are found, and fixing them may take even longer. Yet, software systems are becoming even more complex with complicated codes and tight delivery schedules. Historic example of software risk. In the maiden days of the Wonder Machine, risk and vulnerability of both the computer user and the data were not a problem. Software was unknown, the way we know it today, because it was embedded. Also, the computing system consisted more of hardware than software, and projects were small. As systems became smaller and less dependent on hardware, software came out of hardware, and projects become bigger, more complex, and more dependent on software and humanware. Then the problem of risk and vulnerability set in every system. Major system mishaps in hardware, software, and humanware have been recorded that have given us glimpse of development of computer system and the long road that system safety, vulnerability, and risk have taken. In his book Computer-Related Risks, Peter G. Newman, for many years the moderator of the online internet group The Risk Forum and contributor to ACM's Inside Risk, has documented a wide collection of computer mishaps that address problems in reliability, safety, security, and privacy issues in day-to-day computer activities. Numerous other authors have written about hundreds of incidents that have made headlines in their day. We cannot list them all, but we can look at the major history-making system safety incidents, a few among many that have dotted the computing landscape.
Good day everyone, I'm here today to discuss the classification of computer software. Based on the previous discussion, it's fall into three categories, and these are the product, service, mixture of both product and service. Maybe some of us are familiar in the word product. So what is product? Product is the things that the buyer bought. It's on a tangible form, meaning you can touch it and see it. It's had a intrinsic value for those who are buying this. But for someone who don't need it, it become nothing. For example, you are buying a lot of tickets worth 50 pesos. Then you put it on the table. Then suddenly, your cousin came. She touched your lotto ticket, meaning it's a tangible and it has a intrinsic value for you because the ticket is worth a million if it won. Another categories of computer software is a service. Service is opposite to product because it is intangible, meaning we can touch it and see it. The provider will perform their service depends on what is requested by the client. Then the client will describe what they want to happen. Then the provider will do what the client asked for them to do. The service will exchange to profit. That's why service has intrinsic value for the client. So after we discuss the two categories, let us know if a software is a service or product and mixture of both service and product. According to Deborah, courts do not always equate product with what is tangible. If we accept this line of reasoning, the software with no tangible form can consider a product. The contract option. Lawyer defined a contract as a binding relationship between two or more parties. A contract needs to be in physical form like a document. It can be oral or implied. For a relationship to be a contract, it must satisfy several requirements, including mutual consent. Mutual consent is a meeting of the minds on issues such as the price of bargain or agree upon the amount paid or promised to be paid in any agreements enforced by law. Express warranties. Express warranties are an affirmation of a pact, a promise, or a description of goods, a sample made by the seller to the buyer relating to the goods and as a basis for payment negotiation. Express warranties are entered into between the customer and the producer when a producer agrees the supply of the product to the customer. They also involve the promises made by the producer through sales representative and written materials on packaging attesting to the quality of the product and guidelines buyers must follow to get detectable error corrected by the producer. Implied warranties. Implied warranties are enforced by law according to established and accepted public policy. For example, in the non-ideal world we live in, we cannot expect a contract to contain everything the buyer and producer may want. Remember that the process of buying and selling is a game in which there is a winner, a loser, or a draw. In this game, as we pointed out earlier, the seller has more cards than the buyer. Third, beneficiary contract, meaning it is a contract that can use if something is happened to the user because of the product, but it's not always rarely found valid in courts. Through disclaimer, producer control their liability by putting a limit on warranties guaranteed in the contract before buying the product. Branch of contract. A contract entered into between two or more parties and not performed as promised by either party can be considered breach by the party not in the compliance. The third option. A tort is a wrong committed upon a person or property in the absence of a contract. A tort may include negligence, malpractice, strict liabilities, and misrepresentation. Torts fall into two categories: intentional and unintentional. Negligence. Negligence can be used by the buyer to obtain benefits from the producer. If there is probable evidence that the product lacks a certain degree of care, skill, and competence in the workmanship, carelessness, and lack of competence may be approved. 7 software issue. risks and liabilities 171 from the design stage through the testing, installation, and user training stage of the product. Strict liability. Strict liability is a tort involving products and products sold in defective condition that ends up endangering a person. Create a case of strict liabilities to the seller of such a product, even if the buyer did not make a direct purchase from the seller. Malpractice. Malpractice is a type of negligence. It is also applicable in the cases involving services. Misrepresentation. Misrepresentation may be intentionally done by the sales representative to induce the buyer to buy a product, or it may be just genuine mistake.
Improving software quality. The problem of the software quality cannot be solved by courts alone. The software producers must themselves do more to ensure the software quality and hence safety. Techniques for improving software quality. If the quality is low, software is prone to errors, is therefore not reliable, and hence has a poor standards. In 7.1.1, we stated that software quality can be enhanced by techniques such as developmental testing and programming standards. Software can be improved through the following review techniques. First is formal review. This type of review is conducted at the end of each phases in software developmental life cycle. Formal review is unlike informal review since it has formal agenda and definite schedule. Moreover, the date and time for performing formal review is addressed in the project plan. In the formal review, material must be well organized and prepared, such as software requirements review. Second is inspection. Inspection is the one type of formal peer review in the software developmental life cycle. Formal inspection review is the most effective techniques for the software peer review. This type of software review aims to find defects and problems mostly in documents such as requirements, specifications, task plans, test cases, and coding. Other benefit of using inspection review is to find the problem in each phases of the software developmental and report these problems without fixing them. Inspection teams are consisted of moderator, author, reader, inspector, and recoder. Third is walkthrough. Walkthrough is considered as a form of software peer review in which work product is examined by an author of work product along with the one or more colleges to evaluate technique parts of software product. In a walkthrough, the author presents a full description of the software product to participants and asks them to write some comments regarding the technique's quality or document content. The walkthrough peer review informally conducted to gain feedback about the technical content of the software product document. Fourth is the phase inspection. There are 5 phases of inspection. First is software requirement phase, software designing phase, implementation phase, integration phase, operation, and maintenance phase. Producer protection. We see in section 7.4 that user rights and protection mechanism in the case of substandard software. In section, we focus on the other side of the same coin, the software producer's right and protection mechanism. Software producers need to protect themselves against piracy, illegal copying, and fraudulent lawsuits. Because of the high cost, time, and unpredictability of the outcome, it is not good business practice for software producers to sue a single person making a copy of the software.